If your missile goes out of control and flies toward friendly forces, has anyone thought about this question? What if, in actual combat, your missile suddenly loses control and flies toward friendly forces? Some friends might say, don't fighter jets all have identification friend or foe systems? How could missiles still cause friendly fire incidents? So there's a very critical misconception here. In fact, the identification friend or foe system and the missile are not the same system at all. You can understand the identification friend or foe system as simply the pilot's eyes or an ID card scanner. Its only function is to tell you whether the target in front is one of your own or friendly forces or the enemy. The missile, on the other hand, is more like a bullet that has been fired. Guns and cannons have no eyes. Once it's launched, it no longer listens to your commands. So how can we, as pilots, avoid our own missiles flying toward friendly forces? According to the standards in real flight manuals, besides performing the necessary friend or foe identification, before a fighter jet fires a missile, it must also ensure that its firing sector is clear. This is abbreviated as CFOP, which means that within 10 degrees in front of the fighter's nose, if there are friendly forces present, firing is not allowed. We can use the HUD on the fighter jet, which has a pitch ladder. For example, 5 degrees up and 5 degrees down together form a 10-degree conical area. If both friendly and enemy aircraft are within this range, even if the one you want to shoot is the enemy, the missile is very likely to mistakenly switch its target to the friendly aircraft. Therefore, firing is strictly prohibited within this 10-degree range. Not only that, fighter jets also have their own areas of responsibility. Aircraft that are not part of the same air superiority flight are generally not allowed to fire across boundaries at will. Otherwise, it's very easy to hit your own side. If everyone strictly follows the rules of engagement and the requirements in the flight manuals, friendly fire incidents can actually be greatly reduced. But ideals are full and reality is cruel. Most real combat cases show that pilots in actual combat, because of tension, will severely compress even the rules of engagement we just mentioned. This then leads to pilots, without even clearly distinguishing friend from foe, subconsciously adopting an attitude of better to kill by mistake than to let one escape. This situation is very common among pilots who have just joined the Air Force. So once you discover that what you shot down was a friendly aircraft, how will you be dealt with next? You might think that something as serious as killing friendly forces by mistake would definitely mean going through a military court. But the actual situation is that unless there is clear evidence proving you did it deliberately, in most cases it will be treated as a battlefield accident. Because on the real battlefield, your enemy may not only be the people on the other side, but also the chaos, fear, and misjudgment. Therefore, the punishment for friendly fire on the battlefield is not solved by after-the-fact accountability, but by continuously improving training and procedures to prevent it. For example, in 1994, during the period when the United States was providing protection for the Kurds, U.S. F-15 fighters shot down 2 of their own Black Hawk helicopters. In this accident, the Black Hawk helicopters had their identification friend or foe systems turned on and were also flying within known flight routes. But even so, the F-15 pilots still mistook them for Iraqi helicopters, and the F-15 pilots then directly acted on that preconceived notion, ultimately causing all 26 people inside the 2 Black Hawk helicopters to die. And this F-15 fighter pilot later was not subjected to criminal prosecution or imprisonment. He only received administrative disciplinary action, which ended any hope of promotion and basically terminated his flying career. So in modern air combat, the most dangerous thing is not only the enemy. What can be even more dangerous is your own side. Missiles launched by the enemy can at least be dodged to some extent, but missiles launched by friendly forces always come inexplicably from behind, and such missiles usually leave no time to evade. That's all for this episode. I hope everyone has learned how to avoid having your own missiles fly toward friendly forces. You're also welcome to share your views in the comments. I'm a wild flying friend. See you next time.